everybody. Welcome to another episode of COVID Convos, where we have real conversations with real people about what well-being looks like in a time of a pandemic. I'm Simon, and I've got my usual co-hosts here. Griggsy's back. How are you, Griggsy?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks, mate. Just reeling from the potential news that I'm a victim of this virus. So no official testing, but got some symptoms and had a rough last 2 days. But hopefully I won't miss too many more shows. Sorry to our last two guests that I wasn't here.
Oh, mate, the show goes on, as they say. But yeah, the main thing is you're all right. So are you feeling better than you did a couple of days ago?
Yeah, not really.
Not really. Well, I suppose it was probably only a matter of time with us doing this show about COVID that one of us was going to have a direct experience with it. So unfortunately, you're the one, Griggsy, maybe.
Oh, well, if somebody's going to be the human sacrifice, I'm happy to be it.
Good on you, mate. And also got Kesh. Morning, Kesh.
Morning. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Feeling sad. Feeling sad for Grigsy.
Yeah.
And also, I guess, the news kind of just brings it home, doesn't it? So feeling sad for all the other people that are going through that and worse. I'm glad that, you're still okay through all this, Grigsy, but yeah, hope that doesn't get worse, man. Hope that you're on the up.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Hopefully it's one of these sort of less severe doses, Griggsy. I understand there's different sort of levels of it. So yeah, we'll keep in touch with you, mate.
Thank you. Luckily, we've got somebody who can maybe help me out to join us today.
Yeah, beautiful. Great segue. So I'd like to welcome our guest for this show, Justine Bouvier. Hi, Justine.
Hi.
Great to
Bonjour.
see you. Bonjour. Thanks for joining us. So, Justine, could you just take a minute or two to introduce yourself and your background and your interest, those sort of things?
Of course. Justine, I'm from Montreal. I've been a nurse for 7 years, and I recently started to work in the ICU. And since there's the pandemic of coronavirus, I work in ICU coronavirus, and I'm also a part-time student in nursing science. So I like studying science. I like literature, outdoor activities, traveling when it's possible, and yeah, when I get time.
So, Justine, I think we've heard that pretty clearly. We're having a couple of difficulties with the quality of audio, which is why we're only doing the audio recording here. But one of the most important, I guess, relevant aspects there, although there were a couple, was that you're studying and you're currently working as an ICU nurse with coronavirus patients. I think we got that correctly. So what have been your experiences so far? Like, I'm guessing it's a pretty interesting spot to be working in, one of the places that people be most interested to learn what it's looking like at this point in time.
Well, at first it was like really unclear what we had to do with the patients that were very not stable, and because of the risk for us to get the coronavirus, and weeks passed, and it's more clear the place where we have to stand for the care that we're giving to the patient. So the first night I went to work, I was really shocked by how bad were the patients, and finally weeks passed, and I saw patients getting better, and it's more comfortable and enjoyable to go to work to see that it's possible to heal from the coronavirus.
So, Justine, what sort of what's been the change in communication to you as a nurse across the time you've been working with these patients? Has it become clearer, like what you're expected to do, even like down to the things like I guess protocols relating to personal protection and that sort of thing? Has that all that become a bit clearer?
Yeah, the protection is clear, that how we have to dress up when we enter in a room. It's more likely when if a patient is in cardiac arrest, it was not really clear if we had to do like the compression, when we had to do compression, but finally it's clear that we have to intubate the patient before and then do the cardiac massage after, because if we do compressions and the patient is not intubated, there's too much risk for the health professional to get the virus, and that's what what makes our job more clear. Yeah.
Justine, I'm really interested in what this looks like from your perspective, it being in the middle of it all in the hospital, which we don't get, well, from what I've seen, a lot of that information sort of on the outside. I assume every case and every patient is quite different, but are you able to explain the sort of typical scenario or sequence of events once a person presents at hospital with a potential case of COVID, and how the next sort of days or weeks play out?
Yeah, as I work in the ICU, a patient gets in the unit in pretty bad shape. They have like respiratory difficulty, they're short of breath, or they just came in already intubated from the paramedics or another hospital where they don't keep the patients intubated. So when the patient gets in the unit, that's what they're experiencing, pretty much, yeah. And on the day-to-day, I have a lot of intubated patients, so they're sedated, and they're not very conscious about the situation. But if they're getting able to breathe on their own, so they're extubated, and that's when you can see that they're progressing and getting better.
And Justine, how prepared were you, like emotionally, I guess, to deal with the sort of things that you're seeing? Like, had you seen anything previously? Like, had to deal with, I mean, a lot of near death or close to death. I know in ICU, that's sort of like your role, but how much experience had you had in that area before? And like, has it really taken an emotional toll on you, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Yes. Well, before working in the ICU, I was a nurse in oncology. So I was already comfortable with the end of life and the death, but the situation is very particular because of the slow code that we call, the fact that we cannot resuscitate the patient as quick as we were doing it, and there's a lot of stuff that we can't do because of the risk of getting the virus. I wasn't ready for that, because we're used to do everything to make the patient comfortable or to provide life, and the circumstances are special, and I don't think I was really ready for this, but I was expecting it. But for now, we haven't lost any patients from the coronavirus on the unit that I am, so I'm good. I'm good.
Well, that's good to hear, Justine.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are all professionals, like you said. You got lots of experience working in hospital and with people with various illnesses, but it's obviously a really different time. I'm just wondering what's the general atmosphere like for you at work? Are people and what are people doing to sort of keep up energy levels and help ensure they're bringing their sort of best efforts to the job?
The atmosphere at the job is very more light and enjoyable. So people don't the nurses I'm working with, there's like less complain about small things. Like everybody's in a good mood. Surprisingly, considering the hours, the 12-hour shift that we're doing, and the fact that we're working a lot, it's very surprising, and the mood is very light and enjoyable, as I was saying. And the doctors, they got out a Switch, Nintendo, and Netflix on the break room, so the atmosphere is mostly light at work. And we're very when someone sees that her patient are not doing well and they need help, everybody's is proposing themselves to help. It's very I would say the atmosphere is better than before. Not that it wasn't like this, but it increases the helpful atmosphere, I could say.
Kesh?
Sorry. Justine, what I'm hearing is that somehow, even though the virus is this terrible thing that you're all fighting, it's helped your team and your hospital band together in a more positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. Yes.
I'm also curious, because I heard that you were talking about having a Nintendo Switch in the break room, and being on, I guess, being here at home in isolation and just hearing stories about the brave people, battling this COVID crisis on a day-to-day basis. There's so many people like me kind of asking, like, what can we do? Like, how can we show support? How can, how can we help in our own way? And I just never thought of, maybe buying a Nintendo Switch and sending it to my local hospital. Do you have any other tips? Well, from somebody on that side of the battle line, do you have any, I guess, suggestions for how we can show our support?
Well, the government here is calling us the guardian angels. That's very flattering. And there's just like being grateful for us to do it, for doing it is already nice to hear. But here there's the paramedics and the police officers that they're doing the guards of honor, so they are putting their sirens and their lights in front of the hospital to show their respect and the fact that they're grateful for us. It's like they're cheering us. And there's also restaurants and restaurants that are like doing prep meal that they are giving it to us, and that's very nice to see the local business to give us stuff, so it encourages us to keep doing what we're doing.
So Justine, that sounds like Canada's doing quite a lot to really support, I guess, the nurses and the medical profession. How does that sort of thing, contribute, you think, to the positive workplace? And how does it make you feel when you see that sort of thing?
When I first saw Guard of Honor, I was so touched by it. I had I felt like I could cry. It's very, very nice to see that people are resembling and mobilizing for us. I'm very touched by that. Yeah, very touched.
Justine, us being, I guess, well-being teachers, practitioners, students of well-being, there's a lot of stuff, I guess, that we hear and we see that doesn't always have a direct application. But one of the things that's definitely been apparent, and is apparent in your story, is this idea of gratitude. And gratitude is such a simple emotion in a lot of ways, but it has such powerful effects. And this is what you're talking about. Like, your whole country is showing gratitude for what you're doing, because you're doing something amazing right now. And even us, on the other side of the world, I'm in Australia, and I'm grateful for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think people sometimes forget that. Sometimes it's not so much about doing big things. Sometimes it's just about saying thank you, and all the different ways that people say thank you.
Yeah, like really, receiving a thank you is, I'm more touched by a thank you from my patient or from the daughter of my patient that I speak to every day. Is very powerful, as you say, to receive those thank you more than a switch or a pizza.
Justine, I'm interested to learn a little bit about what you do off or with your time off. So when you're not working, I know that you said you had a couple of days leading into our conversation now where you're off. What are you doing with that time?
I have roommates that they're from France, and they're not working at the time, and I also have my girlfriend who lives with me, so we can do like games, or I don't know, we're cooking a lot, drinking wine, doing houseworks. That's pretty much what we're doing. I don't know what people are doing at home, but that's pretty much what I'm doing when I'm on my offs. I sleep a lot, though. I really sleep a lot.
Justine, you mentioned earlier that you're also doing some study, I think, some extra nursing study. Is that right?
Yeah.
How's that been affected? Are you continuing on with that during the crisis, or has that moved to online study? How are you juggling that along with this important job that you've got at the hospital?
That's an interesting question, because I think most of university started online classes, but for the nursing sciences, most of the students are nurses already, and they are working a lot, as I am doing, and what we call here is like we have day off to go to school, but since there's a crisis and they need us, they abolished this, so we don't have any day off to study. And the department, the direction of the university is considering this. So I have 2 classes that they just um, one of the classes is just stopped. So if I was successfully passing my class before the pandemic, I'm okay. I'm just gonna get a success in my notes records, and the other one I just wrote her that I wasn't able to continue the class even if it's online, and she said that's all right, I'm just gonna give you success in your notes record. And one of my the last class that I have, she gave us one more month to do the project, and there's no exam, so she canceled that. But I think it's mostly in nursing sciences that they're doing this, because they know that we're called to go to work more often than we were doing before.
It sounds like quite a understanding sort of approach from a university there in this tricky time, that's for sure.
Yes.
Justine, we're unfortunately getting towards the end of our time. Is there anything else that we haven't had a chance to talk about during the conversation that you'd like to bring up, or a message in particular to get out to the people listening?
I would say, like, if I know for the patients and their family that are struggling with their parents being hospitalized, that now they can't visit them, to not be shy to call us to get news for their family, because I was as I was saying, I was talking to the daughter of my patients every day, and she told me that she was a little bit scared when she was calling to be like annoying, and I was like, usually people can see their family, and it's a part of the healing process for the patient, and it helps to have their family around them, and now they can. So just not being shy to show that they're concerned about their family members being hospitalized, and that saying thank you is always the best thing that we can hear. And yeah, I could say hi to her daughter. I told her that I was gonna go talk about her and her mom in the podcast. So hi, Sarah. And yeah, that's very we talk on the phone every day, and she's like so nice and so grateful for what I'm doing. The other day I almost had the tears in my eyes. That's very nice to hear, and thank you for the invite in the podcast. I was also very grateful for the job that I'm doing to be invited.
It's our pleasure, Justine, and thanks for that. There's great comments or advice there about helping patients maintain that critical connection with their loved ones during this time. It must be, well, being in hospital, having a sick family member or friend is hard at the best of times. But at the moment, with that, the restrictions on being able to visit, I'm sure is just making it all that more difficult. But it's so encouraging to hear that they've got people like yourself, Justine, taking great care of them. So thanks for all the hard work you and your colleagues are putting in Canada, and also your distant colleagues over here in Australia and other parts of the world. They're all doing a fantastic job. That's come to the end of our time. Thanks, Justine, again for being our guest.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
And I wish you all the best. And I'll say goodbye to Griggsy and Kesh. And to everyone else there, please like and share and subscribe to our YouTube channel as much as you can. And until the next episode, you stay healthy, world.